want to. This ain't no ordinary stream. From the ashes, Phoenix talks manifesting a dream. Got a growing channel, YouTube's where the wisdom resides. For all the Nest members, no truth can ever hide. She's an under-detective on the digital beat, questioning the unthinkable, bringing fire to the heat. With a mind so advanced, highly intelligent and bold, part of the hive mind with birdie stories to unfold. Common sense is a superpower, cutting through the noise, unlocking closed minds, amplifying all our voices.
Phoenix, Phoenix, what do you see? Unlocking knowledge for you and me. The nest is rising strong and true, sharing wisdom, me and you. Clap, clap, clap for the truth we seek. Every answer, week by week.
Okay, y'all, let's get started. How are you? I am so embarrassed. This morning I overslept and I missed Birdie Live. So let's get the party started. Today is Saturday. I can't believe time has flown by. It is August 9th, 2025, and we are here to talk about truth and timestamps. Now, I just want to welcome all you little nesters in here. Get in here, get in here. I know it's a Saturday afternoon. People are gathering, having fun with their families, but I thought, oh, since I overslept, I need to go live. And one reason I wanted to go live, because I'm a woman of integrity. And when I make a mistake, I can own up to that mistake. And last night, after looking at the live with the body cam footage and checking my facts with my timeline and all the other timestamps on videos, I tightened my timeline and I was wrong about the Moscow Police Department video cams. So the time, daylight savings time, was on the 6th, not the 12th. And when you look at that, I don't think that they would go by a whole week and not realize that their timestamps were off. And I don't think anybody has changed any timestamps. But I do think there is a possible error. And I'll show you where the error is that I did find, with facts and evidence to back up that theory. So the theory of the Moscow Police Department video cam error is wrong. So it led me to go back and look at my theory and revisit some timeline issues, which now make total sense. And why is this so important? Because I'm going to show you. And don't forget to transfer some DNA, please, as we get into it. This is a live. It's not going to be a really big live dig, but I want you guys to make sure that you do have the documents, which we do live digs for the Moscow Police Department. And that is at justiceforall.com, and you can download those. And I do have a bonus for you today, and I hope you guys enjoy this live, because this breaks it down in such detail that it will blow your mind. And when I say that, I mean it. So let's look at the truth in the timestamps and unravel the 1122 King Road. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, there is this video going around that everyone is talking about that we don't know if it's true or not. And that's why I said, is this real time or not? And this shows 4/16/55. 4/16/55. And when you look at this time, I tend to believe this time may be off. This is one of those screw-in light bulbs that you have a little app that you connect to your phone. I used to have a few of these in Idaho, and they're not accurate. You have to change the, take out the light bulb, insert the SD card. You have to actually download and change the time to your phone. And sometimes those applications don't work well with your phone. Even though your phone is on the network and it changes, it doesn't mean the apps will update. And there's a big, huge article about this at techweek.com. And you can go look at some of these apps. Now, this app specifically wasn't listed, but it does talk about the disconnects in these cameras that are used as light bulb screw-in cameras with SD cards. I mean, have any of you in the chat had these before? Have you used them? I know they're not accurate. I've used the car dash cams that you put the little SD card in. Time's not accurate in those if you don't update it, especially daylight savings time. But I mean, realistically, this house was lived in by college kids. And how often do you think they went and changed the light bulb time camera to give the accurate time? I don't think that was on their priority list, minus school and partying, realistically. So when you begin to start looking at the timeline, we have to go by what we know. And what we do know is this video that I showed yesterday is in fact the most real-time video that we see because of the fact that they were at the Grub Truck, and Grub Truck Twitch stream is live video. This video right here at 1:56. Now we know that Kaylee and Maddie arrive at the Grub Truck at about 1:30 something, I believe. Yeah. And then they leave at 1:51. They rush off. They rush off to get in the car with Eric Gower, who in the Moscow Police Department says, yes, he dropped them off. Doesn't say where he dropped them off at. It just says he dropped them off. And it doesn't say what time. So, hey, Holly, welcome in. And I know I missed you guys in the Birdie's Live this morning in the Hive. I was actually, I overslept. And then I had to go run an errand. So, yeah, I got rid of it. It was old and rinky-dink. It was rinky-dinky. Yeah, they're cheap. And you think, oh, I'm going to get this high-end camera. They're not that great. And, yeah, so you're saying it could be 2 something, not 3. I'm saying the time on this light bulb camera is an hour behind because of daylight savings time. And you know what? On some of those cameras, I would just leave it because why change it in a few months, 6 months? We're going to spring forward, fall back. So I don't need to change the time. I just know in my head it's an hour behind, right? So if this camera, let me add this to my, if this camera was not accurate, it would bring us to 3:16. And why is that so important for you, Phoenix? Because my timeline was tight and accurate until I realized that the Moscow Police Department logs were accurate. So when you see this video, let me grab it. Let me take this down. When you see the video that I made back in May, this video lines up with the Linda Lane footage at that exact time when they are at the Grub Truck and everyone's watching this thing unfold on their cameras, which makes sense. And that was regarding Ethan and Xana. If you guys remember this video, I never changed my clock in the car. See, I'm not the only one, dude. I don't change it on a lot of things. I just say, I know, mentally that time is the wrong time. So, and yeah, I got rid of mine because I needed to have the switch for it to work. Yeah, makes sense. So now a little bit of deep dive in Ian. Ian Harsh did say he remembers screams about 4, but he did say that he came home around 2, correct? Yeah, I remember that. Okay. So at 1:56, we know that they have, already left the Grub Truck. They are in the car with Eric Gower, and they are en route to 1122 King Road. Now, sometime between 1:56 and 1:59, Eric Gower's account in the police reports does say he drops them off. He doesn't say where, he just says drops them off. And the Linda Lane camera shows the car going. And remember, Dylan says we wanted to go out for food. Now, something that really has always stayed on my mind is, even though Dylan says we wanted to go out for food, here it is, right here. After spending the evening out, DM, BF, Kaylee Gongalves, and Madison Mogan returned to their home at 1122 King Road early morning in the hours at approximately 2 a.m. They meet up in Kaylee's bedroom and talk before going to bed. The fifth roommate, Xana Kernoodle, was out with her boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, and they were not home yet. Now, stay with me, guys. This is going to be really super important for you to remember this. This is huge, okay? Now, it doesn't say when or how Xana and Ethan came home. Then it says the roommates debated on going out for a late snack. But wait, Kaylee and Maddie just ate. Why would they want to go out for a late snack? They didn't. Maddie was said in the police reports to be eating in the back seat of Eric Gower's car as he dropped him off with her hands because they left in a hurry. So that tells me they were in a hurry. They forgot utensils. She was eating with her hands. Okay. And then she sends a text at 2 a.m. to the Uber driver who she's known was driving. And then they said ultimately, however, the girls just decided to go to bed. Well, we know that's not true. We know that in a witness statement in the Moscow Police Department that they were seen at 2 a.m. by a third party outside 1122 King Road. And let me go ahead and find that real quick for you. They saw DM and BF. Who was that witness? Does anybody remember? Shoot, now I got to get my book. Who is that witness that saw DM, LM, and BF outside at 2 a.m.? Does anybody know that off the top of their head? Let's see. DM, BF. Let me see which one it was. Third party witness. It was a witness that said they had been watching movies and they had gotten done seeing the Vampire Diaries. And then they were walking outside and 3 people were seen with Bethany, Dylan, and LM. So let me just see. Gosh, I thought I had it on my list and I don't. Well, it's in the Moscow Police Department, okay? It's in the files. I just don't have the number, and I'll drop it in the chat as soon as I remember or where I find it. I thought I had it. Let me just take a minute. And if you know, let me know. Was it the neighbor? It was actually somebody, I believe, who lived in the Whites. And it is the correct day, whoever that is in the chat. It's the correct day. I know everybody's been trying to say, no, it's the wrong day. You don't have the right time. They're just trying to cause confusion. It is the third party witness. Gosh, what supplement was that? Danny Vargas, possible. I'm going to find it in a minute. KF, Bethany and Dylan are in. Okay, so that's supplement 112. Told you I'd find it. Supplement 112 narrative. It's, shoot, hold on. It says the witness, Bethany and Dylan, 3 to 4 females with DB at 2 a.m. It was by Blaker that wrote it. Let me search Blaker just so I have it. Of course, there's going to be like a million records. Crap. There's got to be another one. It says supplement 112. Hold on. Let me go back up. Because I want you guys to see this 112. Okay. So we have the statement from this witness that says basically, let me put that up on the screen so you can see it. 112. This one's pretty interesting. Okay, can you guys see this? Hopefully you can see this one. All right, let me take this off the chat too. Let me take the comments off the screen so you can see it better. Can you guys see that pretty well? I mean, I can scroll in and you can see it bigger. Is that good? Yep, 112. I was reading it to make sure. Yep. Okay, got it. So when you look at this, it was written by Blaker. Yep, 112. It says on November 14th, 2022, around 3:52, I called KF to arrange an interview with her. Kay had already left Moscow and was heading to southern Idaho to be with her family. Kay told me she had been in contact with B and D on 11/22/22. D arrived at her residence at, that's 11:30. Is it 10:30? Hold on. 23, that's 10:30. And B arrived at a residence around 11:30. So that's 10:30 and 11:30. K lives at blank blank Taylor Avenue. It was redacted. B and D were at her residence for 2 to 3 hours. So 2 to 3 hours puts her, let's just say, if she's going by the time that Bethany got there first at 10, that would put them at 11, 12, 1. That would put them at about 1, right? So when you look at the next statement, she says, Kay stated she walked them past the Whites sometime before 2 o'clock, but then she could not positively tell me. Kay stated she stayed on Taylor and then turned around, and she was not sure what route they took home for sure, but they kept walking on Taylor toward King. Kay stated there was a group of 3 or 4 other females with B and D at the time. Kay did state she was drunk at the time and could not recall all the events and everyone who was present with the group. So there was 3 or 4 other females walking with D and B west on Taylor. Kay stated she thought LM was with the group. Now this is a different LM. It doesn't say that LM here is part of the 3 or 4 females or if it's a male. So in other documents, LM has been a male unless they have a female friend that has the initials LM. She was not able to tell me anything else. Okay. So we have that she's there at 2 a.m. How does that fit into the timeline? Well, at 2 a.m., allegedly, the vehicle on Linda Lane captures the vehicle leaving. And remember, that is the time that they say they all went back and they went to sleep. Well, that's not true. So we're just doing a recap of the timeline and why it's so important. And this is the topic if you just came in, just so you know, truth and timestamps. So after we know that Bethany and Dylan are now awake and outside, what happens outside? Because it says the next sentence, it says approximately, right? Approximately 4 a.m., DM heard strange noises. So between 2:10 and 4 a.m., what happens within those 2 hours, hour and a half? Let's just say 2 hours, just to be facetious, right? What happens between that time frame? Well, your guess is as good as mine, but I'll show you on video proof of the correct timestamps. So from 2 to 2:52, we know the only activity that has been charted and recorded is Kaylee's phone log. Her last call is at 2:52 to JD, Jack Decor. Multiple calls from Maddie and Kaylee. Now, this is alleged, in my opinion, what happened based on the information I'm going to show you at the end of this stream. And I have always said this from the beginning, based on a couple of audios. Shout out to Outcast 420 on the YT. He has dived into these audios, and you can hear things happening in these audios that are very important. But the timestamps is what I'm looking at today. So let's get to the first timestamp, and let's see if this is real time or not. The Idaho Statesman, the light bulb camera, they're saying that this is 4:16, and I'm going to show you that it is not 4:16. And how am I going to do that? I'm going to show you the exact footage from many other audio videos, and you're going to see, oh my gosh, this is the wrong time on the light bulb. Now let's go to Linda Lane footage, and I'll show you why they haven't wanted you to see everything. What? We're not being shown anything? No, we're not. We're not. All right. This Statesman audio video that you show at 4:16, I want you to listen. I want you to listen. I'm going to play it at 4:16. $4:17. What did you just hear? You heard Murphy barking, correct? Did everybody hear him bark? Well, I'm going to show you Linda Lane footage at the correct time, 3:17. You're going to have to turn the volume up if you got headphones on. I sure hope you do. This is going to be super important. Super important that you have your audio up. You ready? This says 3:17 on Linda Lane. 3:17. Audio up. Not only right before could you hear Murphy barking, they have blurred out the entire time frame of the real time this went down. Oh, Phoenix, how do you know? Well, let me show you 13:30, 13:20 at 4:16, and there's nothing. If we go by 4:16 per the light bulb time, nothing's there. Volume all the way up, pure silence. Total pure silence. There's the theory that the light bulb camera is wrong on the Statesman's video. It sounds like my canine. It's not. Is it a glitch? Why didn't they show the whole video? And if you're saying it's a glitch, I kind of thought that too. But let me show you something else on the Linda Lane footages. Let me get there. Hold on. Tell me why Linda Lane footage. Let me see if you can see what I'm seeing. Okay. Tell me why on Linda Lane do they not show us anything at 3:16? 3:20, 6 to 7, 5 to 6, 5 a.m., 4 to 5, Then they start it at 3:21, 3:30, 3:09 to 3:20. They don't give you the actual 13:30 at 3 o'clock, 3:17. Go through all these. They'll start at 2 to 3. They'll start at 2:04, at 3 a.m., 2:40. You'll have to go through and watch all these, but these are just short, tiny clips. They skip all in between there because they don't want you to see the whole entire clip. And if you're telling me that this is a glitch, I guarantee you this is not a glitch, because at 3:15, we all know what happens at 3:15. Somebody walks up behind here at 3:15. Oh, sorry, wrong one. At 3:20. At 3:15. Where are they at? Hold on. At 3:15, there is somebody that walks up. Where are you at, dude? By the dumpster. There he is. I'm sorry, 3:14. It takes about maybe a minute to walk over there. Here he is at 3:14. Walks up. They catch him on the other one. He's a cigarette smoking guy. There were cigarettes found at the house. And that is why the 3:16 is so important. Well, this is not the right time. This is the time they want you to see that makes the most sense. And that is the difference in the timestamps. If you go by this video, you can hear everything at 3:17 in the Linda Lane audio. You can hear the background. Let me move it forward so you can hear it. I don't think this is a glitch. Why don't they fix the camera and let us see the real thing if it's a glitch? Camera, listen, you have to all the way up. You can hear the background if you turn your volume all the way up. You can hear Murphy bark. You can hear some noise. It's not complete silence. And the Linda Lane footage right here, 3:17, we don't get any let me see, hold on a minute. 2 to 3. This doesn't go. Hold on. That one doesn't go. That one doesn't go. This one says it, but it skips. I believe this is the one. Volume all the way up. This is when the guy walks across the screen in a different angle at the top, 3:15, towards Linda Lane. Right there. He's walking at the top. You hear him walk on sticks or something, and he walks over, and then on the other side of this, you'll see him go towards in between the two buildings. So he's actually walking. He's actually walking in between these two buildings right here on the Linda Lane. Queen Road Apartments over to the 122, right in between here. So you actually see him at 3:15, top of the screen here. walk across at 3:15. Top of the screen. And it only takes, what, maybe a minute to walk down there and in between. There he is at the top. Maybe a minute to walk over there. And then that's when we hear Murphy barking on the screen with the actual video. So I believe that that is 3:17. You hear Murphy bark on Linda Lane at 3:17. So this is wrong. Now, why is this so important? Because the timeline's not there. The roommate's hid in the closet, possibly. I don't know. That's the timeline that makes the most sense. And then at 3:01, I'll prove to you again on this video that this is the accurate time, because you see, let me get the video for you. At 3:01, let me remove this, add this. At 3:01 at the Moscow blotter, the police were dispatched at 3:01 due to, I think it's an alcohol offense. They were loud and rowdy and noisy at 3:01, right before the incident took place. So this is the correct time. And at 3:01, you'll see, where is my, hopefully you guys can see this. Remember this big ol' video? Well, let me show you why this video is so important. When you see this, you're going to flip. I'm going to play it right to the end. Look at the timestamp. This is the correct timestamp, guys. I was wrong last night, so I've come to fix my error. The timestamp on this body cam is 3:15. And watch what happens.
Copy. Any questions? No. All right, good to go. Have a safe rest of your night, man. Moscow 77.
So let me know what you think.
They cut the camcorder off at 3:16. Did you guys catch that? Well, almost at 3:16:03. It ends there. Where is the rest of this body cam? 3:16:03. They cut the body cam. Can you believe that? Why did they cut the body cam? I think at 329 is the golden number to remember, because I think that between 3:17 and 3:29, because if you go to Linda Lane and you go and you watch the videos at 3:29, it is pure silence. It is golden, pure silence. And that is why I believe the light bulb camera is wrong. 3:29. So I'm going to go to the Linda Lane footage. Let me see if there's a 3:29, 3:17. Nope, they won't give us that. They won't give us that footage. What does Jeff H know that we don't know, that we want to know, that he needs us to know? Tell him to give us that footage, since he's done all the other footage. That would be amazing. So I'm saying it happened at 3:17 to 3:29. That is the right time. This time here is not right. It is not right. It's wrong because Murphy is with JD across the street. And that of Hugh and Linda slowed down and zoomed in, and their bodies also on the ground and people hiding. Yeah, I believe they were unalived. They were murdered outside of the house. We know that the crime scene, there would be so much more like you wouldn't believe. And here's the part. If it happened between 3:17 and 3:29, 3:17 is, I don't think it's the end. I think it's when, in fact, and I'll stand by this, I believe Xana and Ethan were, well, let me scroll back a little bit. I believe Ethan, in my humble opinion, was unalived at 2 a.m. And I don't know when Xana was, but I believe Ethan was. And I believe Kaylee and Maddie was at a different time frame. And why do I say that? Is because the time there, I've always felt there was two different timelines. They tried to make everything else fit into this timeline. With 3:29, you see the white sedan on the King Road neighborhood. They say it's, 4 something, 4:20, the possible attack and this and that. I think it was actually when they actually either tried to bring Ethan back in the home. Now, you can go to the Moscow Police Department records that I've shared with you. And Ethan was said to have something on his leg. Something happened to his legs. And when you look at that and you look about how they found him on the bed, slumped over, half on the bed, half on the side of the bed and covered, someone covered him. It's not like they woke up and he was laying on his back prone. He was laying on his back supine. So not prone, he was supine. He was flat on his back. So I don't know how you can be flat on your back and then also at the same time hunched over and on. It doesn't make sense. The crime scene doesn't match what they were actually saying they saw. Okay? It just doesn't. So if you notice something that looks funky in these documents, is it looks like some of these documents have been cut and pasted together old school, or they highlighted everything and then scanned it in for the public to see. These don't look like real reports, but I'm just saying that this narrative doesn't match the crime scene photos. So what really happened to Ethan and Xana? Was it on a separate timeline than Kaylee and Maddie? Because it basically says right here, upon arrival, I started at the front door, and asked him to stand off the kitchen side. It was later ajar upon arrival, which I learned later it was ajar upon our arrival. Then they go to the 3rd floor, and he doesn't really talk about what happened with Ethan and Xana. And well, he does earlier, but he says that he believed this female to be Xana. There was blood smeared on various items in the room and all over the floor. There was a body cast off on the walls in various places, including above Xana's body. Xana was on her back on the floor in the center of the room with her head towards the west. But listen to how he describes Ethan. A partially covered male was on the bed and obviously deceased. I believe this male was Ethan. The midsection of Ethan's body was covered with a blanket. Ethan's head wasn't visible and appeared to be between the bed and the south wall. There was some blood cast and arterial spray above where his head was located. Now, in other reports, it says different things. If you go through these reports and you start reading what they say about Ethan, then you'll see that It really doesn't match up. I mean, you can scroll this page, you can go through here and say, okay, let's see what anything else we want to know about Ethan real quick. Okay, Ethan, yeah, Ethan. You'll see different reports from other people who also do a report on what they saw. They didn't keep it just one officer, right? They didn't keep it to just one officer's sightings, because right here it says this male was identified as Ethan, laying on his back in the bed with some type of blanket pulled over his midsection. Chapin's body was at an angle, so his head was up against, and his feet were dangling off the bed on the north side. That's two different descriptions, folks. Two different descriptions. I could not clearly see the wounds on Chapin's head and neck, but there was a large amount of blood on the bed that appeared to be blood splatter on the wall from his head and neck. I also noticed two large cuts on the back of Chapin's legs. The wounds appeared to be deep into the tissue and difficult to see in Ethan's body position. So how did Ethan have all this fighting and then end up in his bed in that position? Well, I think there's more to this story, obviously. There's more questions than we have ever had before when they were giving us just God knows what. So with that being said, why do we think that Bryan Kohberger is innocent? That's a good question. There's a lot of speculation, but I'm going to show you proof and evidence. So are you ready to get into that now that we've seen all the Linda Lane footage? We've seen the camera times, or the light bulb camera specifically has got to be off. Would we agree on that? Everything lines up by the sounds. But do you guys remember in the state of Idaho repository? Remember what I was talking about a little while ago? Well, let's go over that, because these filings were pretty interesting at the time that they were filed. So way back when, a land far beyond when the Constitution. I'm just kidding. So, because it's not 100% not proven guilty. Well, if you show me any real evidence that he is like so guilty, I'm just going to show you something. The motion to file, there was 3 motions. Actually, I'm going to talk about 3. There was a response, there was a motion, and there was an objection. Those 3 documents we're going to talk about real quick. And this first document, oh, no, that's the state's. That's the state's motion. Okay. The first document that was filed by Ann Taylor is this document right here. And so what does this mean? This whole document. Hopefully you can see this document. Basically, it was, this was done by the interim chief public defender. This was done by public defender for Bryan Kohberger. And basically, in plain English, this was asking the defense, Kohberger, motion to strike utter disregard aggravator. Kohberger wanted the district attorney, the prosecutor, to remove the multiple victims aggravator, which says the crime is more serious because more than one person was murdered. And basically, they argued that it would be double counting another aggravator, meaning, 4 were unalived. And it doesn't legally add anything to it. It just says that because he's not actually citing any laws or cases in this document to prove his point, They just want to write a law review article. They referenced a law review article, and I'm reading from my notes, that basically says, in fact, multiple victims is a valid legal factor for the death penalty, because he wanted to remove the death penalty. And they tried really hard to do this. In this document, they also point out that the Idaho Supreme Court case is not double counting aggravators, but that the case didn't even involve multiple murders. It basically said, in our case, we'll have to separate independent evidence for each aggravator, and juries are not to double count. Since juries are presumed to follow instructions, that's no reason they need to misuse this factor. So Anne basically is saying that, Kohberger didn't commit any of these murders. You need to remove this, and you need to do it now. And so the objection by the state was filed in this document right here. It comes from the Latah County prosecution officer at the time. They were down in Latah County. And Bill basically said, Bill Thompson, he says, basically, I'm going to read you in layman's terms what this document means. It said, Kohberger is not directly saying I didn't commit all 4 murders. Maybe you're only looking at it wrong, and you should be charging me with only some of the murders. Now, did you guys just catch that? The documents are not about whether he's guilty. They're about how the death penalty rules applies if he's convicted. It's a procedural fact. And that's why I started digging into this. And I thought, what does this mean? It says, even though in this response to the defendants, hold on, let me grab that one because I just showed you this one. This is in response to the defendant's motion to strike felony murder aggravator. Basically, it says, Kohberger's legal position, he is not guilty of all charges. Not guilty of all the charges that they've charged him with. The prosecution is saying, of course, they're trying to prove he committed all 4. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Because do you remember when Bill Thompson was talking about the plea deal? When he said the defendant agreed to plea to all 4 murders. I just want to get a pulse on the chat right now. Do you guys remember that? I just want to get a pulse on the chat. Do you all remember when Bill Thompson, do I need to bring up the video? Because I can. Bill Thompson specifically said that the defendant would plead to all 4 murders. Bill Thompson. Let me do Brian Kohberger. Plea hearing. Yeah, he said, okay, they'll go ahead and he'll agree to all 4. Like, what the heck? Let me
make you in live as promised to listen in to that courtroom hearing right now for Brian Kohberger's case.
Let me go to where Bill Thompson starts running his mouth and how this came about, and that the defendant would plead to all 4. That's the only way, because when you get in an entanglement with a prosecutor and they start charging you, they're not going to drop charges. They made him plead to all 4, even if he didn't commit any of them.
And other documents.
I would ask the state at this time to provide its recitation of its factual basis had this case gone to trial.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the organization of the resuscitation is different than what I think the court and the public may be familiar with from the probable cause affidavit and other documents. The state's evidence, as an overview, would show that back in March of 2022, when the defendant was residing at his parents' residence or was residing back in Pennsylvania, his home
Let me
state,
skip some of this. We
he
don't need to
purchased
watch the whole
online a
thing.
K-bar knife and sheath, 22 and Coburger, his phone number and his own residence, which is an apartment in kind of the north area, that neighborhood, starting around 3:30 or so in the morning. Comes into the immediate area of 1122.
Now, Bill just said he comes in at 3:30. Now, didn't I just say that this happened between 3:17 and 3:29? The timeline, how could he commit if they just said he came in at 3:30? He left his apartment at 3:30. I just showed you all the videos of Linda Lane and when all this started to occur at 3:17 to 3:29. He was not even there. Now that I've put it all together, timestamps don't lie. And that's exactly, the truth is in the timestamps. But Bill Thompson is just going to go on and make him do this. Somebody has to take the fall.
King Road, which is actually on a dead end, and then leaves several times. And approximately 4:05 that morning, the defense car had entered that area, was leaving, stopped at the intersection
We know now that that was the undercover police car.
of King and Queen Road, did a U-turn, and the state's evidence would show that the defendant's car came back and parked behind and above the 1122 King Road residence. The state believes that its evidence would then show that the defendant entered the residence of 1122 through the kitchen sliding door on the back side of the residence, which is the side of the residence that would face the area above where the defendant's car was parked. Defendant entered the residence, went to the third floor, and with a knife, killed Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez.
Okay, did you listen to how Bill presented that? Phoenix, can you drop the link for me? The Justice for All, is that the one you want? Justiceforall.com, you can search those PDF files. So you just caught that, what Bill said.
The defendant, as he left that room, for whatever reason,
ended
up leaving, or the sheath for a K-bar knife was left on the bed next to Madison Mogan's body. And I can jump ahead. That sheath was tested by the Idaho State Police Forensic Lab, and single source male DNA was found on the snap of that sheath, as well as blood from both Kaylee and Madison and other trace evidence. But it's important to note single source male DNA was on the snap of that sheath. The state's evidence would show that Xana Knodel was still awake at this time. In fact, had taken a DoorDash order not long before this started. Her room was not on the third floor. It was.
But wait, that's not true. They said that Xana and her boyfriend was not home yet. They never said when Xana and Ethan returned home. That was one of the huge things in this case that the FBI and the officers, they all wanted to know and account for where Ethan and Xana were. They were not home. So how did Ethan and how did Xana get home? When did they get home? How did they get home? They never said they got home, people. Never. So how in the world did she get home? How in the world did they get home? Your guess is as good as mine. Because they don't have an answer. Isn't that wild? Just wild to me. Don't know how they got home. I don't think Bill knows how they got home. And if they do, they're not telling anybody.
It's on the second floor on the west side. As the defendant was either coming down the stairs or leaving, he encountered Xana, and he ended up killing her, also with a large knife. Ethan Chapin, Xana's boyfriend,
Also with a large knife, but not the same one, right?
was asleep in their bedroom, in her bedroom, and the defendant killed him as well with a large fixed-blade knife. Each victim suffered multiple wounds. I will state for the record that there is no evidence there was any sexual component or sexual assault on any of the victims. I want to make that clear so there's no speculation. There were 2 other roommates in the house.
You know why he said that, guys? Because you know when he goes to prison for life, they're going to put him away in prison for life so that all the other people inside prison know that this was not sexually motivated, because they know what they're going to do to him in prison. Come on, we're not dumb. We're not dumb. We know there was more than one weapon. We know that. Steve's been trying to share that with us too. There's more than one weapon, guys. More than one. Right? We know that. He's not telling us anything we don't know.
And they were already asleep.
Wait a minute, Bill. They weren't asleep. Oh my God. We all know they were awake. All these documents prove, all these police reports and these interrogation videos and all these documents in the police department show that they were not asleep.
During the course of this, one of those roommates awoke, looked out her door not knowing what was going on, and saw the defendant, who was dressed in black with a black balaclava on, holding some sort of container in his hand. And she saw him leave the house through the direction of the kitchen where that sliding door is that I mentioned before.
Okay, the same person that says that she saw his face, but just his big nose. She saw his eyebrows through a thing that his face was covered. Thought it was a fireman. Thought it was, gosh, who knows what else? Who knows? Elmo?
At approximately 4:20 that morning, so this would have been 15 minutes or so later, the defendant's car is seen on a surveillance camera for 1112 King Road, which is immediately next door to the west of 1122, leaving the area at a high rate of speed. And if the court were to see that, or anybody in this courtroom were to see that, you can see the car almost loses control as it makes the corner, heads north, and then turns to go south on Walinta, which is one of the only ways to get out of that part of town. The evidence would show that following that, the defendant in his Elantra drove south of Moscow. We know that he drove on the back roads because there are surveillance cameras on the main highways, Highway 95, that would have picked up the defendant's car if he'd gone that route. And they did not show the defendant's car on that route during the time. So we know that he went through a variety of back roads in very rural, isolated part of Latah County.
Okay, Bill,
About
I'm going to
4:48 that morning, the defendant's phone comes back on. And the evidence will show that that phone was located south of Moscow, likely at a side road intersection with Highway 95. From there, the defendant's phone activity tracks it heading back north towards Pullman, Washington, where the defendant lived. About 5:26, starting approximately 5:26, various surveillance cameras in Pullman, Washington pick up the defendant's vehicle as he enters Pullman from the south and heads north and slightly west towards his apartment, where he arrived at approximately 5:30 in the morning. Later that morning, Sunday, the 13th of November of 2022, Mr. Koberger's phone returned to the area of King Road.
No. The next morning you said he was in Clarkston. Said he was in Clarkston. There was a witness that saw him in Albertsons. Do you guys remember that at 9:30 in the morning? So how in the frickety frickin', I'll show you this. I'll show you this so that you can see it. How in the world did this person, D, follow-up tip, say, I asked D to tell me what she knew. D told me that he was at the Clarkson Safeway between 9:30 and 11 the morning of the 13th and noticed a man in front of him in line. Said he saw the man's face because he made a comment to the store clerk, which caused the man to turn back and look at him. D stated he didn't think anything of the encounter, but until he saw Koberger's face on television upon his arrest, D told me he was sure he saw the person and he was wearing a black hoodie with the hoodie down. Now, how in the world could someone see him the next morning in between Clarkston Safeway or Albertsons, whatever they want to call it, between 9:30 and 11, somewhere in between that time, when you guys do know how far away Clarkston is to, let me just show you. Clarkston is a little ways away, guys. Let me just grab this real quick. I believe Clarkston is down somewhere way down here. Hold on. Clarkston. So here's Moscow. Here's Pullman over here. And Clarkston should be way down here somewhere. Somewhere way down here. Somewhere. Where are you? Hold on, let me go in. There's Genesee. Clarkston should be way up here somewhere. There's Moscow. Where are you? There's Pullman. Clarkston is way down here, guys. See this way? Well, that's Lewiston. Clarkston Heights, somewhere in this area. Can you see that? That's a long ways away from Moscow. So if you have somebody that says, I saw this guy here, I saw this guy, but you're saying, Bill, that he was somewhere else, how can you teleport? Or do you have a twin? Does Koberger have a twin? Okay, you can see all these holes in this case, right? So here you have a witness saying that, yes, I saw Koberger. I realized it after his arrest that it was the guy. Okay, that was a tip. RD had previously called about a tip in July. And now they're finally getting the report done, right? Oh, Bill. Oh, you crack me up. Hold on. Let's finish watching this.
We don't know exactly what he did, but he returned to that area. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. He was there for about 10 minutes and then returned to his Pullman residence. About 9:30, the state's evidence will show, evidence taken from the defendant's phone, that he took a selfie of himself on his phone in what appears to be the bathroom of his Pullman apartment with a thumbs up. The defendant's phone then went to the Lewis and Clarkston Valley, approximately 30 miles south of Moscow and Pullman, and the defendant.
Okay, Bill, you just told another big, massive lie. You just told a lie. I just showed y'all this document right here that says that he was at the Clarkson Safeway between these hours. This is the guy who saw him. That pins it down to a matter of hours. So if you look at the map, now Bill is saying that he went down. He was already there. He was already there, guys. Oh my God, I just can't with this. Some days I just have to Lord help me. Lord help me.
That is actually seen with his car at various businesses down there. This area is the confluence of the Clearwater River and the Snake River. Lewiston is Idaho's seaport. Large bodies of moving water down there. In addition to tracing the defendant's activities, as I've just outlined, on the 13th and leading up to the 13th, the state's evidence will show that following Sunday, November 13th, 2022, business records show that the defendant began searching for a K-bar knife and a K-bar knife sheath, as the state believes, to replace the one that was left at the scene of the murders. The evidence
Wait a
also will
minute.
suggest that there were at least attempts.
Bill just said K-bar knife and sheath, the ones that were left at the murders. Did he not?
In Idaho's seaport, large bodies of moving water down there. In addition to tracing the defendant's activities, as I've just outlined on the 13th and leading up to the 13th, the state's evidence will show that following Sunday, November 13th, 2022, business records show that the defendant began searching for a K-bar knife and a K-bar knife sheath, as the state believes, to replace the one that was left at the scene of the murders.
Did you guys just catch that? But didn't I just show you the ISP that ordered the K-bar? When did he say that? When did he say that? He said to replace the one that was left. He didn't specify that it was just the sheath. He said the K-bar. Do they have the actual murder weapon that we don't know about? He just said to replace the one that was left. Yeah, I know it's 256. I think it's 265. 265. No, 265 is the cameras. Does anybody think they have the actual weapon? I just thought about something. Do they have the actual weapon? I'm just speculating here, guys. And they couldn't. Let me look and see. K-bar. Oh, shit. I bet you they do. I bet you they do. Do you know why I'm saying this? Remember the guy that called in and was checking his order and said no? Do you believe that they could possibly have the K-bar weapon and they can't release the information about it because it gives someone else's DNA and it's not Koberger's? Am I muted? I cut out. Yeah. Do you think they were both left at the crime scene? I think, no, my headphones are plugged in directly. I didn't use the wireless option. Do you think they have both? Because remember the guy who was trying to order the K-bar knife and the sheath, and his order was the the operator or the customer service girl basically said it was left at the crime scene, and she had no idea what the guy was talking about. I don't think it was Kaylee's knife. I don't think it was her own knife. I know people are saying that it could have been hers. I'm talking about the guy who ordered a knife and a knife sheath and Cutco. Cutco is the primary company. Hold on. Let me do a search. Cutco receipt. The receipt was for, there was a LM on here, wasn't there? LM. MM Pullman, Washington. Let me show you what I am looking at so you guys know. I'm looking at this one where they had asked Cutco to, it was sent to the FBI, and they were asked to send, there was like 1,200 knives that were associated in the area. And here is a purchase on 3/7/22 for DM in Lewiston. And I was looking at the closest one, if you were on my stream, I was looking at the closest one that would be anywhere near Boise or that area. There was one that was purchased in Pullman, right here by MM in Pullman, Washington. I mean, it's easy to ship stuff to family, right? If you live in the area and you just go pick something up. And then there was this one for LM in Seattle of 11/22/02, right after the unalivings. This is the one that I thought that maybe they were trying to replace it for, right here in the middle of the screen. Can you see that? LM right here. LM on 11/22/22. Right here. LM in Seattle. That's the only one that would make sense, close enough to an LM. I emailed a copy to M, and this was, so I wonder if perhaps that was the customer service. Hold on. Customer. Uber customer. Let's see. Regular customers. Where's the one with the knife in the sheath? That's not it. I'm looking for the one that said basically it was linked. LM seems to be the person of interest, but they don't want to say it, in my humble opinion, allegedly. Do you remember what document that was, guys, where the individual 72? Okay. I'm reading the chat as I'm going through here. Hold on. Let me grab 72. Sequence 72. They didn't find the K-bar at the press conference. The FBI said sent to Bruce. Well, I think they're lying to us about the K-bar, guys. You know why I think so? Because if they say, oh, they've got the murder weapon and they know who it is and it links back to somebody high up in Idaho, of course they're not going to. Come on. Supplement 72, so it had to be on page, let's say 50. 72, it was 10. 72. Let me go back. Oh, I got a ways to go. Hold on. Supplement 72, we're getting closer. 108. 107. Come on, 72. I wish I could search it and it won't search that. I don't know why. Hope you guys don't get dizzy. 72. Oh, let me see. Are you sure it's 72? There's 100. I thought it started at, unless these are out of order. Hold on. 72. I'll have to go back and look. Hold on. That would be page exactly. Yeah, I have a feeling that maybe they do have it. The reason that I just heard Bill Thompson. Let's finish watching Bill Thompson and then I'll find it.
The evidence also will suggest that there were at least attempts by the defendant to delete or alter his purchase history on Amazon where all these transactions had occurred. Later that week, the state's evidence will show that Mr. Koberger went to what we would call DMV, motor vehicle licensing here in Idaho, in Pullman, to change his car registration from Pennsylvania to Washington. That's of note because Pennsylvania cars do not require a front license plate. The vehicles seen on the surveillance cameras of the defendant's car showed it didn't have a front license plate on it. At the time of the traffic stop by Deputy Duke in August, it was Pennsylvania plate, no front license plate. Mr. Koberger proceeded to finish his semester of studies at Washington State University and returned to Pennsylvania for the holidays. Law enforcement at this point were aware of Mr. Koberger, had been accessing information about him, were trying to find him. They located him in Pennsylvania, and they conducted what's called a trash pull. During the nighttime hours, agents of the FBI, who assisted immensely with this case, working with the sanitation department back in this neighborhood in Pennsylvania, took trash that had been set out on the street for collection, sent the contents of that from the Pennsylvania residents.
You know what I just read? I just read that someone had a really good thought here. What if they found not a K-bar? What if they found not a K-bar? Because you know what? What makes sense is why they placed this order on 265. Hold on a minute. No, shit. I just had it yesterday. It was 112. Wasn't it supplement, or is it supplement 113? They just placed that order. I showed it to you guys. ISP placed an order for the K-bar for, oh God, that just makes sense to me now. Oh, that makes total sense. ISP placed an order just like Koberger's with the K-bar, the sharpener, and the vegan supplements, because if the murder weapon was at the scene, they would have to hide it if they knew whose real DNA was on there that would cause an issue with Idaho. And if they needed a weapon to take to Dr. S in Spokane, who did the autopsy, to confirm, yes, this knife would make that type of wound. Oh my gosh, I got what you meant. But that makes sense. But everything I've showed you already, there is no link to Koberger doing this. Now, I think the only link, of course, I've shared this with you before, is Brent Kopaka. Brent Kopaka used to date the niece of Farley that was the connection to this pill rug group of people that I told you a while back ago that were making their own pills that were killing people in the area. They were trying, it was done through a frat. They were trying to make their own pills and sell them and distribute them. I know what you meant. I got you. Exactly. That would make everything fall in place. They had to make sure that they could mask everything that they know and try to make it look like this was Koberger. Now, was Koberger there watching? Maybe. I believe he could have been there with the person who did this. I believe so. I don't believe Xana and Ethan were unalived by the same people. I just don't think so. I don't think so. Now, of course they needed a patsy. Of course.
The defendant's parents to the Idaho State Forensic Laboratory, where the lab experts there were able to identify DNA on a Q-tip as coming from the father of the person whose DNA was found on the knife sheath that was next to Madison Logan's body in the bed.
Now, you guys, this just hits different watching this, doesn't it? Now that we know what we know and what we see, and hear what we hear, this is, it hits different. Really different. If there is a link, the only one I can think of would be, logically, Brent Kopaka. Brent Kopaka was the only one that lived close to Koberger and could have possibly had any connection. I didn't see a picture of a knife sheath on the bed either, guys. Nothing from over 200 pictures were released, and we've only seen 10. I mean, I can show you what I have, but only 10.
Subsequently, an arrest warrant was issued here in Idaho, and a search warrant was issued in the state of Pennsylvania with the assistance not only of the FBI, but the Pennsylvania State Police. Mr. Koberger was arrested at his parents' home to return to Idaho. Upon his return to Idaho, a DNA sample was taken from him, and it matched the DNA found on the knife sheath next to Maddie's body at the crime scene. I can tell the court and the public the weapon itself, the knife, has not yet been recovered. I can tell the court that the defendant's apartment in Pullman was searched, as well as his office. Spartan would be a kind characterization. There was virtually nothing there, nothing of evidence.
Now, he just said it wasn't recovered, but just a little while ago, he said it was left. The knife and sheath was left. Did we not hear him right, or is he covering up? I'll wait for the chat to catch up. We must have missed that. Wow.
True value was found. And of course, we are now talking 6-8 weeks after the time of the killings. In Pennsylvania, the defendant's car was seized, and it was actually pretty much disassembled internally. And it also
That's because you guys disassembled it.
had been cleaned. There was a bucket of cleaner right beside it. I think we can all look to our own cars, in those compartments in the doors. We try to keep them clean where you put stuff. There's always some degree of crud in there. They were spotless.
Little fluff.
The defendant's car had been meticulously cleaned inside. And the state would present to the jury that was part of the defendant's plan in covering up this. The defendant has studied crime. In fact, he did a detailed paper on crime scene processing when he was working on his pre-doctorate degrees, and he had that knowledge and skill.
Let's talk about crime scene processing for a minute. Y'all, I don't know about these pictures. You want to talk about this bullshit? Okay, this picture looks like it was never cleaned up from the night before they had the party, obviously, because you're looking at this right here. You're looking at these pictures from the crime scene itself. This looks like the party, and no one is running out the side of that bedroom. No one is running down the stairs with a ping pong table or a table used as a ping pong table. No one's running down the stairs, guys. You guys know that, right? Did she run and stagger and zigzag? And yeah, that don't make sense. That just doesn't make sense. And is this like right here in this little area where I'm moving the mouse? Is that where the sheath was? Is that where the sheath was supposed to be placed on the bed? And yeah, that just looks like some crime scene tape was thrown up in Party City. Poor Murphy. That breaks my heart, guys. It does. So, those are just the ones that have been released. I've seen some. Let me grab my. I've seen some that are even worse, but I'll do this one. This doesn't look like a massive amount of anything. Is that where the sheath was supposed to be placed, right here? I can zoom in. I don't see anything. Do you guys see anything on here? I don't see much. There's maybe a speck of something or dirt. I don't even see anything on the door jamb, the doorway. I can go in and look. That doesn't even look like, where is all of this at? I don't see anything really. I can really zoom in if you want me to zoom in like 800%, right? 400%. This is at 7 right here. I don't see hardly anything anywhere. I don't see any drops of anything anywhere. If anything, I don't know what that is. Maybe dirt or a spot. I don't see hardly anything. I don't even think these are from a cell phone. Could be, right? But, I don't even see anything like majorly alarming. But that's me. This is pretty evident that something may have happened in this room. But with Ethan and Xana, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I mean, this is a little bit more detailed, unblurred. Something definitely happened in here. And I think that's for Kaylee and Maddie. I think Kaylee and Maddie were actually done at home. Ethan and Xana, I don't know. The jury's still out on that one. I mean, that's not a lot, though. That's not a lot, in my humble opinion. But what do I know? And this, I mean, they've got more pictures. And yeah, I know about the time on the clock. Looks like it's been digitally altered or something. It could have been the picture was blurry or they were moving in motion. 12:56 or something. Yeah. I don't know about these pictures, guys. I want to see the actual evidence pictures, the crime scene, where they go and they have the markers. That's what I'd like to see. And what is this guy doing here? What are they doing with the other guy? What is this all about? Was he tying something on him? What is this? What is this guy actually tying? Is that another person's foot, or is that some type of piece of equipment? What is this right here? Does anybody know? Yeah, this is weird. This is really odd. But yeah, I mean, these crime scenes these photos aren't that bad. I haven't seen any others released. This one I'm kind of concerned with because, I mean, I'll tell you what I see. This ping pong table, if Dylan had to run downstairs, this table and all these, they would have been knocked off. It looks like they never cleaned that night. I know some people are saying, oh, it didn't happen. It happened the night before, wrong day, wrong time. Well, I don't know. Just too many things. And here, I mean, they blurred all this out. Was that actually somebody laying there that they blurred out? And what is this? I mean, it might be some dried blood, but I mean, it might be somebody's t-shirt laying on the floor. I mean, I don't know. We can't really see when they've blurred it out. I mean, not that I want to see, but like, there's no leakage. There's no, I mean, and if, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And this is supposed to be the second floor with Xana. And if that's the case, her bed was on this side and there is no blood leaking out of the back of the house over here, guys. Just no way. No way. So yeah, can't even speculate. Someone said, did you see that on the, no. And I'm like, no, that is like maybe a bathing suit or something. There is some blood on here. Obviously you can see if you really, yeah, all over here on the beer can, on the beer. I thought that was weird though. I thought that was weird. The sheet or the blanket, the pink blanket. There's some spatter over here on the, over here, or dirt. I don't know what it is. And it doesn't look like there was a big fight because you know what I see. I see this would have been knocked over, this bottle of green sanitizer. If there was a fight, it would have been knocked over like this one. This one looks like maybe it was intentionally laid down. There's an ID card, sweatshirt, dirty clothes, beer. If that would have been knocked down intentionally, like there was a fight or somebody fell against it, yeah. I just don't see how there could have been a fight or anything in that room. I just don't know. And I don't really want to watch the rest of Bill Thompson, but let's watch the rest of this.
So, Your Honor, at the end, the state submits that the evidence that I've given just a quick overview of and that to present in court would consume weeks which the state is prepared to do and has been prepared to do, would show that as the defendant has just admitted and pleaded guilty on November 13th, 2022, excuse me, Ms. Koberger entered the residence of 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. He did that with the intent to kill. We will not represent that he intended to commit all of the murders that he did that night, but we know that that is what resulted.
He didn't intend to commit all the murders that night. How about even one? Or obviously I just showed you there's no way.
Is prepared to do and has been prepared to do, would show that as the defendant has just admitted and pleaded guilty on November 13th, 2022, excuse me, Ms. Koberger entered the residence of 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. He did that with the intent to kill. We will not represent that he intended to commit all of the murders that he did that night, but we know that that is what resulted, and that he then killed intentionally, willfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Ethan Chapin, and Santa Cruz. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we saw enough of that. So now, there you go. I believe this timestamp is factually wrong, in my humble opinion. The real unalivings happened between 3:17 and 3:29, and as Bill Thompson stated, Mr. Koberger's car was known to be leaving his residence at 3:30. So how could he be in two places at once? Bill just factually said he was leaving his apartment at 3:30. 3:29 was pure silence in that area, which would make sense in a line that this light bulb camera was in fact the wrong time. Every other timeline is correct except for this light bulb. So what are your questions? What kind of questions do you have today now that I've showed you? Hopefully that helped. You can't say premeditated for all four if you say he didn't intend to alive all. Which is it, Bill? That's the hurdle they had to show us in the court. The cover-up worked. He's crying tears of joy. I'm sure. My career's on the line. Yeah, I believe. Unalived all. Then who was the target, Bill? I don't know. No motive. When can we have the GOJ come down to Moscow? I hope soon. What do you think will happen in the next few months? I don't know if there's going to be an appeal, guys. I really don't know. I think it's going to be harder to get an appeal. I think they're going to ask for post-conviction relief. All these documents came out for a reason. They have to go and find the real person who did this. Do you think they're really going to do it? Please go back to my comment. All right, Teresa, and let me find you. How far back? Oh, here we go. Try again, Phoenix. I believe the black boots are what Maddie was wearing at the Grub Truck video. She was. Absolutely. If you go back, let me find a good video of the Grub Truck. Hold on. And here's the problem. They have scrubbed most of the Grub Truck video. I've got, let me see if I can find, I've got a video of mine. Hold on. Grub Truck. Let's see if I can find the most accurate one. Let me see if I can find something. This without any commentary because I can't stand that. Let me see if I can get one with Maddie and a good shot and show her shoes. Right here. Okay. Let me show you guys this one. Can you see this one? See her boots right down in the bottom of this. Shoot, hold on. I think you can see that in my screen, right? Oh, no, you can't. Hold on. Duh. There you go. Let me see if I can make this screen bigger. Hold on. And you can see her boots right here on the lower left side of the screen. Thank you to try. Who is this? Who is that? Oh, thou shalt not kill. True crime. Okay, so see her boots in the bottom screen right here? You can see those were her boots that she had on that night. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, they were the chunky boots. Hey, Dina, nice to see you. OG in the house. So yeah, those are her boots that she was wearing that night. So we know that obviously they made it back to the house. They were there. I had a phone call and figured out I'd have to go to the replay. Yeah, I'm still live. I'm shocked too. So we were just taking a look at some other scenes and trying to figure out a couple of things, answer some questions. Yeah, remember? Oh my gosh, remember what she said? It was like a total mess, that it was all leaking out. Yeah, I remember. Regular bed mattress and help. Yep. He's got, oh, okay, I'll go download it too. Sorry, I'm late. The corner scene off. She was just told what to say. She was just told what to say. That's all. People running, yep, near the dumpster, out, yep, walking around the gate. Okay, so in the let me grab the video. I know you guys are commenting a lot on the video. Idaho Statesman. 1112 King Road. Let me grab this video. Let me grab the video and let's watch this real quick. Where is it? Where did it go? Come on. Let me try to grab this video real quick. Let's see if this will load fast. All right. I'm going to try to bring this up. Wants me to subscribe. I'm not doing that. Let's see if we can find another video. Here we go. Oh, I don't want to play that one. Hold on. How about this one? Where in the world did that video go? Did they take it down? Did they get rid of? They want everybody to subscribe now? Is that what's going on? Holy moly. Why can't we just watch the damn video? Oh, let's see. News, security footage. Let's see. What in the world? I'll download the Grub Truck. I guess they got... I wonder if they deleted it. Hold on. I should have downloaded it and I didn't. Now they're telling me they want me to subscribe. Crap. Let me look on YouTube and see if anybody else grabbed it before. DoorDash on camera. No, why do I see this? I can't stand this person. Let me see. I'm not trying to be mean, but okay, here's one. Let's see if we can watch this one. Hold on. All right, here we go. I've got it on mute. I hate this noise. Now it says 3:30 on this one, but I was talking about 4:17, which is actually 3:15. So this would be 2:30 if this if this light bulb cam is wrong. This would be 2:33, which would match up with some of the other things I have on the timeline. Linda Lane screams 2:42. Help me. So this would be 2:42. That's interesting. KTVP. Yeah, that's I got it from. They're just letting it run up and run down and run back, which is weird. This would be 2:38. Let me look at my timeline and see if anything else coordinates. No. Nope. This is weird. This was not changed. Let me see. I hate that noise. That's what I wanted. Let me do this. Why did they speed it up so fast, guys? Let me play back speed. Let me go really super slow. I'm going to go backwards at 2:33. Let's see what the guy in the house does. I can't stand that noise. Yeah, I've seen where the guy runs out, and I thought maybe he was running to go catch the car to jump in the car, which would make sense. There goes the backwards driving car, yeah. It would make sense if he was running out to try to catch this car, because let me put this together for you. And I don't know. Let me stop this and let me show you. Let me grab a different picture. 122 King Road. This is why I was saying this. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, here, I'm going to use this video. Oh, I'll use these pictures. Okay. This is my thought process on who this guy is. Okay. Now, I don't know, and I'll preface this, as I looked up the weather that night, and the weather that night said there was no snow on the ground. But in some of the crime scene photos, and even in the document, it mentions snow. Okay. So let me show you this one first so that you follow what I'm saying. This document right here, this document, okay, by Ryan Snyder. It was written on 11/13/22. He basically says, I responded at 12 o'clock, yada, yada, yada. I noticed the back door was open and there were footprints in the snow from the back door on the porch. The prints, obviously, he measured them with the tape. He watched the backyard to make sure no one came in the area. The portion that's connected to the other residence on 1118, and both directly to the west. The footprints appear to lead west toward King and between the residences. Okay, right? You guys caught that. Well, let's just bring up our handy dandy map. 1118 King Road. And this is my thought process. Let me just add this to there and let's zoom in. Okay. So I kind of question this. Here's the 1122. West, it was leading west, okay? And walking to the 1118, okay? So if it came all the way across to 1118 and you're seeing this house is 1119, I thought maybe this guy is trying to catch a ride with the car that was leaving. Now, is that possible? Could that be possible for you? That was what I was playing in my mind. That guy is over here running to get in the vehicle, possibly. I mean, is that possible? So we see this guy. Let's just watch him. I think he was at right around this time frame. This would be 2:38. Because remember, I just showed you that this camera time is wrong. This would be 2:38. And they shadow it so you can't see anything else. See that? That. Then let me go a little bit faster here. Let me go ahead and move it a little bit until we see the guy that comes. So my thought process is maybe this guy walks over from 1122, walks in between here, in between these two houses, and that's the picture that you see. That's the report that you see. He walked over this way, and is it possible the car picked him up over here that you see walk across here? Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. That was my thought process. That guy had to catch a ride out of there fast. And that's why they say that car went all the way down to Lewiston. Now, I don't know exactly when hold on a minute. Let me look at this. I don't know when they see this guy walk across here, but I'm thinking, what if he walked across the back of this house on the backside and walked down around to catch up with the car? That could be possible. But see, they would have to drop him off in the loop. And the only cars that we have seen so far that we know are the undercover cars. I think he jumped in the car. Yeah, I think so. In the undercover car. That's what I was thinking. This thing's playing, but it's playing really super slow because I don't know where this guy is captured. I want to say 2:33, I believe. Maybe around that time frame. Anybody know the exact same time where the guy walks? Let's see what we can see. It's when the car turns around. Okay, let me go a little further then. When the car turns around. When it does the 3-point turn. Because he's looking for the guy, obviously. He's circling around looking for the guy to pick up. Obviously, I'm playing this really super slow. So you're saying it's when he turns around. I'm just going to scan it here. I know I've seen some of the footage. Yeah, I was thinking that the car didn't almost hit him. The car was trying to pick him up or drop him off or something. Let me see if this helps. That's at the 417. It's actually 316, 317. Where is this guy at? Shoot. Okay, here it comes. I may have to download this footage because they speed it up so fast that you can't see it. I may have to do that. Hold on. I think I'll just download this. I'll download the video and I'll play around with it. But yeah, I think the guy was trying to catch a ride, either dropped him off there and picked him up. That was, I was thinking. And he walked right across the house in the back. Yeah, it's about 3:33. So I think it's actually about 2:33. I don't think that time is accurate. Okay, so if it's 2:33, the flashbang takes at 3:23. So that's got to be the wrong time on this timestamp. Yes, you can slow it down. He was right there. Let me go back. Hold on. Just real quick. At, they say 33. See, why don't they want you to see it? They block everything out, guys. See how they zoomed in and they only put the focus right there? See how they did that? Now I'm playing it super slow. They don't want you to see certain things, so they blocked it out, brightened that up. Blurred it out. See, I think it's at 4:33. Hold on. Timestamp is right there. I think it's right here. I've got it on super slow, by the way. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. All right, guys. So he's coming now. Where is he at? He's going back around Walenta. I just don't see it. Yeah. I don't know what exact time is. I'll look. So, you know, I showed you it's the last time Did the car look at the door? No, it wasn't the last car leaving. I thought it was the second one. I thought it was the second one. He comes out to the door. The guy comes in at around 3:33. Okay, let's try it. 3:33 for the timestamp that's wrong. They blurred everything out. I don't know how you can see anything. Let's play it. They blur them out too. Looks like it. Oh. I still say somebody jumped in this car or out of this car. That's what I'm thinking. Somebody jumped in or out. And if Tesdall said that he was driving the entire time, yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. But you know what? I'm going to leave you with a little bonus here, guys. There's the guy that comes out the door. There he goes walking. Very faint. Because you know what? They put this on 15 speed so that you don't see the guy walking. I'll play it again. Car's gone. They speed it up. That's why they speed it up. They don't want you to see what's really going on. Hopefully that helps. Now, I'm going to show you this last piece of evidence. You know me. I'm going to show you this last piece, and I want you to remember. Now, I can show you. Let me pull out the handy dandy documents. Okay, here we go. See this? This was written by Aaron Morris. It's probably not the one that I want. Okay, this is made by Jacob Tesdall. I was yada, 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 and Officer Rosendahl had worn body cams. And what did he say? I didn't have a dash cam. And what else does he say? I drove throughout the entire detail. So if he was the one driving, guys, who got in and out of the car? Who got in and out of the car? If he was the one driving, he says, I drove throughout the entire detail. Right there. Bam. That's what he says. I drove through the entire detail. Now, I did see, we were driving around the building. I do recall seeing a dark colored vehicle with tail lights on. I do remember that. Oh, and by the way, I didn't remember, but then upon my review of my radio history, I did stop 3 individuals at 255. To the best of my recollection, this is after the King Street and seeing the individuals at 1122. He did see some individuals walking towards 1122. He did. He saw the individuals were walking close to a vehicle which was parked in the northeast corner of the lot. As I turned, I traveled, and I recall seeing how many, I don't remember how many individuals there were, but they were wearing, or any other details. He saw them. He did see a dark vehicle. Okay, well, who else does see a dark vehicle? Somebody said that D noticed a dark gold minivan backing up King Road. That was Jack DeCoeur in his interview. Remember that interview with Jack DeCoeur? And who else saw a dark vehicle? Oh, yes. Brett Payne interviewed J.M. and basically said there was a dark SUV. That was the man over on Consoga Drive in the back of the house in the morning. He did see some dark SUV, and that was when he was taking out his trash. And I think that was the only other dark SUV that was seen in the report. So 2 different people saw some dark color SUV. I didn't see a interview here with Enon Harsh. I didn't see an interview here with him he said he saw a dark SUV. Remember that one? But let me tell you, the one that really blows my mind is this one. I still can't figure out how to piece this one together. You all know I'm going back to this one by Jay Waters. He reports. I'll leave this with you, and then I'm going to jump. He reports. Yeah, I think it was the Cowboys, because someone contacted them and let them know. But if my suspicion serves me correct, at 3:30, you hear Bill Thompson said Mr. Koberger got in his car at 3:30, and where do you think he went? Do you think maybe he tipped off the guys, we got a problem over at 1122 King Road? What do you think? Is that possible? Maybe possible. Speculation. But let me tell you this. Jay Waters, remember this. This is going to be key. There's 3 videos on his cop cam on the watch guard. He gets there and he realizes that somebody has used a video. He used the vehicle video, and saved it under his name and badge number. What the heck? The video depicts a patrol car transporting Moscow police cadets to Kibbe Dome some days later, and the vehicle returned to the Moscow Police Department. I don't know who was actually driving the vehicle, but it was not me. So who was the officer that used his body cam or body patrol car, whatever, the video on his cam, and records this and drops these 2 people off to the Kibbe Dome? 2 Moscow police cadets. So we can go to the Moscow annual police reports, and we can take a look at those real quick, and we can see in 2022, let's just do a search on cadets. Let's see who runs the cadet program. Afton's involvement with the police department of Chief Fried during the internship of the first ever cadet program. Afton was an inaugural part of the class. Well, let's see what else. Here, oh, look at this. Here's some more on the cadet program. Let's check this out real quick. First ever cadet program in August. What? Oh, you guys, I got to be able to share this screen with you. Duh. Okay. First ever cadet program in August. Let me just look. Well, this report that Waters report says that somebody picked up 2 cadets and drove them with his body cam or his VRE vehicle video saved under his name. And he didn't drive that vehicle, but somebody saved it under his name. Then it says Moscow Cadet Program, and the program is 18 years old. Me. Who runs this cadet program? Who would be somebody that could use the vehicle, take people to Kibbe Dome? The cadet program, it doesn't say who runs the cadet program. Oh, wait a minute. Cadet program coordinator. Look who it is. Tesdall. How coincidental is that? Why was Tesdall? Could it have been him using somebody else's VRE video and saved it under his somebody else's name and badge number? That's really strange. That is really strange. Why would they be saving so people didn't know that he, in fact, may have dropped them off? And who were the cadets in the program that were dropped off? Why would you need to use somebody else's badge number and name? I don't think it was a mistake. Officer of the Year, Tesdall. Who was that? Who was trying to stay under the radar on 11/12/22 at 6:53 at night? That they didn't want anyone to know that they were in the area of Kibidome. I wonder what that's all about. Is that malfeasance? Is that dereliction of duty? Is that deception? I mean, I don't know what you would call it, but why would somebody have to... I don't know. That's just weird. That is just really weird why somebody would have to log in someone else's under their name right here. Under their name and do that. That's just another what would that be called? Gosh, I don't even know what to call it. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm just going to save that. Very, very interesting. So, where's proof? What are you guys talking about in this chat? I know I gave you a bonus. That was your bonus. That's illegal. Yeah, wow. Show us your worthy cadets. Yeah. I would think that the top of the list at a homicide case for Ellie would turn on body cams. Not if they're covering up something, allegedly. Karen, it might be used against them. Where's the proof? I think they're trying to throw people off. Corruption. If they're a cadet, then why wouldn't they have their own BWCs? Well, it looks like somebody drove the car, dropped him off. But my whole point to this is he's saying it was not me. Someone else saved a video under my name and badge number. Who was the individual that did that? Who's the individual that saved their video under Jay Waters' badge number and name? Who did they drop off? Who did they drop off? That's your bonus. Let's go dig and find out who this individual was around the time frame of 6:53, the night of the murders. Well, the night before the early morning murders. And why would they need to mask what they did? Why would they save it under somebody else's name? Makes you wonder, guys. Makes you wonder. Drop some love. Leave your DNA. More DNA than Brian Koberger allegedly was found at the 1122 King Road. And as always, be well. Be well. Phoenix out.